Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, good lord. It's only another episode of the... I nearly said Munificent, but I don't think that's what that word means. Magnificent Unit Lost Pubcast. I don't know what Munificent means.
Hello,
something,
ladies and gentlemen.
but what does it mean? What does it mean? I'm going to find
Municipal.
out.
That's like...
Munificent.
I have no idea. Municipant. That's not even a word.
Munificent. Yeah, it is a word. It's a word. I knew it was a word. I knew it was. Characterised by or displaying great generosity.
Well, I suppose it is a generous show.
Yeah, so that's
with all
absolutely...
the worth that we've got, that we should give away for free. Ladies and gentlemen, so it's a bit different this one is because Mr. Kirioff is in control and I'm not in control. This means I can just do random things, not like I don't care, like sitting here listening to music, which is pretty funny. Also, I've got me the microphone plugged in.
I can't listen to music.
I've got me the microphone plugged in. That's why it looks professional, doesn't it?
Well, that's what happens when I take over. It actually looks no different to how it looked before.
He forced me to do it because he said you're not using that headset mic. But little does he know, chat, viewers, stream, whoever the fuck this is. I could.
In fairness,
this looks really stupid like this though.
That mic isn't bad. Like for a headset microphone, it is really, really good. I mean, when you compare it to, I've got like the headset below that one, and the well, you can see it's another QPad headset. It's the model below. But the mic I've got isn't like a condenser or anything. It's just like a standard headphone mic.
Yeah, it looks the same though, doesn't it?
Yeah, the quality's nowhere near the same. No. Like you could get by with that, and in fact, you have been getting by with that.
Yeah, well, I use it for streaming, don't I? Like the thing is that microphone is. I always go on about it. Like how much advertising have they got out of me for just giving me the bloody headset? It's really good, and if I didn't have this microphone, there would be no way for me to know that. Like I'd be fine with it, you know what I mean? But this mic's way better, so
yeah,
I should probably use this when I can. Considering, well, you know, I just don't want like a £200, £300 setup doing nothing because I can't be bothered to plug it in. Chat, that's stupid, viewers, whatever the hell you are. I'm going to keep saying chat because this is a problem. Now, I'm going to explain what this problem is, right? This is because I stream all the time, right? So what it is, when you talk to the stream, I call them chat. So I'm like, oh, check this out, chat. Yeah. Well, I now do this in everyday talk, which is weird.
As in, like, you're not like going into the like you call your mother up and you're like, right, chat.
All right, mother. All right, let me just ask the chat. Who's the chat? Who's the chat, dear? What the?
I've met your mum. She don't sound like that.
She does. So, yeah, this is Pubcast, and well, let's just. I'm going to go into it. So I played Hatred.
I think that's the other day. That's the safest way to start off, ain't it?
I made a video on the game. Now, let's be honest with this, right? Everybody I know in my filthy underground YouTube circles has access to this game. They got access to it yesterday, yeah? 2 hours before I made a video on it, okay? So I missed it because I wasn't checking my emails at that time. I think I was stuffing my face with various delights. And, yeah, so I seen it and I thought, oh, you know what? Let's make a video on this because everybody's going on about this and it's all like, is it ultra violent? We've gone on about it. You know, we said in Hotfix that this is kind of like it's obviously a play, isn't it? Just to get people to play the game. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so violent. This guy's just a murderer. It's like the Columbine massacre and not Colombian, as some guy thought I said on the Hatred video, really which made me laugh. Columbine, I think it was called, wasn't it? The high school.
Yeah.
It's modeled on that, isn't it? So
I mean, I made a video when it was first talked about how it was removed from green steam light and steam green light. And at the time, I was like, I'm never going to play this. Like this just looks despicable to me. But then the more I kind of looked at it, and I watched the trailer a few times, the more I just became kind of like, I thought to myself, there's not going to be any content for this game. Like the entire game is going to be that controversial shock factor, and the whole kind of it's so edgy, like it is so edgy, and then it comes out months later, and I watched your video, and I've watched a few other videos on YouTube, and I'm not shocked by it or appalled by it, and in fact, I think I was a bit hypocritical when I was like, "Oh, this is disgusting," because realistically, you can do the stuff that you do in that game in any number of other games. If anything, it's just surprising in that it's dull. Like
it's not very good. Yeah, dull. Yeah. Like I've been thinking about this overnight, and sort of thinking like, why? I mean, show the gameplay off if you're not already. It's not bad. Like the gameplay isn't bad. It's like a twin stick shooter style thing, and it's got like destructible environments. I like the color palette, which I did say in the video. It's like monotone colors, like black and white. But then there's like explosions of color when things happen, like explosions or people get shot. But just the whole like I hate this world. I'm going to kill today. I'm going to die violently, and I'll kill as many people as I can. And he like walks out and he starts shooting it, and it's just like, okay. It starts off really dodgy. Everybody has seen the trailer, basically, which is the start of the game, where the guy's like putting all the weapons together, and he's like, he's got his big long hair, and he's like, oh, I hate the world, and he goes out the front door to commit mass murder. And as he leaves the door, it's just like shoot people, but then it's not really very. Well, I use the word edgy. It's not very like, oh my god, this is like really disturbing me on a level that I can't comprehend. It was just like I'm running around shooting people. Yeah, it became a bit crap, and also it's got problems with like. This is going to sound a bit silly, but it was boring, and it should have had things like progression, character development, and things like that. You should have been able to like be a melee murderer or something, or like specialize in. I don't know. It's a bit weird, but like that game is just hyped to shit. Well, it's not hyped to shit, but all of the press they got because it's this guy who is this social outcast who is going to murder everybody, which has happened time and time again. And I find that slightly like stupid for the basis of a game. I mean, the video I made, I did say it was an objective video, and it was to a point. But I mean, it was a first impressions video, not a review, as most people seem to think it was. But I got to a point where, obviously, after I'd been objective enough, then I started giving my opinion on what I'd played. And it was funny to me because there was comments like, oh, how can you say this is an objective video? 7 minutes in, you say this is idiotic. Well, that's 7 minutes into a first impressions video, which begins as an objective outlook on the game, and
which clearly states
I give you my opinion.
You talked about the color palette of the game. You talked about how well it controlled, how the physics and stuff, how the physics were good, how the general how the look of the game was, coherent and good. That was something else that kind of got to me about a lot of the comments on that video. Just seemed like they expected the video to be, this game is like too shocking or takes me out of my comfort zone. And so because they expected that to be what the video was, they didn't actually listen to what you said. And the thing as well is that there are all kinds of comparisons being thrown around, like especially to GTA 5. Like the fact that you can do what this guy does in GTA 5. You can mow down civilians, you can do this and that and the other. But what everyone seems to kind of ignore is a combination of two things. It's firstly context. So in GTA 5, it is entirely possible to go on a civilian killing spree and
but that's not the point of the game.
Exactly. That's something you can do. It is not the be all and end all of the GTA experience because you've got story missions, you've got side activities. Hey, you can go and play tennis in GTA 5 if you want to, or golf. There's racing, there's online, there's loads of different things to do. It's not just go and kill everybody, lol. And that's like the entire point of the game. The other thing as well is that actually, when you said that it's like a stupid premise for a game, I completely agree with that. Not because I particularly dislike Hatred, because having actually watched plenty of videos and I guess educated myself on it, I can't say I dislike it. I just don't really see how it's supposed to be fun. But there's the fact that you play games, like I personally at least play games for two reasons: either a challenge or a story. Preferably a mix of both. And the idea of playing a game where there is not really any story because the entire story is dude in trench coat shoots people who aren't shooting back
with dire dialogue.
With awful dialogue.
No sense.
And there's no real challenge until the police turn up because the rest of the time you're shooting stuff that can't fight back. It's like that's like the worst combination for me. Gameplay that involves hitting targets that can't do anything to actually injure you or hamper your progress, and no character development or story to speak of. And when I look at it like that,
so this was the thing.
Regardless of the setting, it's like that just sounds boring to me.
Well, this is pretty shocking to say, but even in the video, I was like, I expected this to like throw me into just massacring a school or something at the start. That's what I was expecting. Yeah. Of all of the stuff you've seen leading up to this game, you can clearly see what it's based off. All these high school shootings and all that crap that goes on in America. Yeah, it's gone on in other countries as well, but predominantly it's always you see it in American news and God knows what. That's what it's based on, yeah? That shock factor. Oh my God, this is going to be repulsive and disgusting. But you just walk out the front door of your house and just start shooting people on the street. Okay, there are objectives. There are like, you need to waste the party, so kill everyone in this house party. Then you need to kill people at a funeral. And then you need to cleanse the police station, so kill the entire police station. And it's like, right, okay. But you just come out of the door and you can just do whatever you like. Like, you don't have to do... Well, you do have to do those to finish the level and go to the next level. But, like, I was expecting to, like, walk out the door, to say, my first stop. Maybe have some sort of, like, little cutscene. The first stop on my journey is the school that ruined me. Like, and then he pulls up outside the school and it's like, I'm going to make the teachers pay or something ridiculous. It sounds ridiculous that I'm even saying this, but that's what I was expecting. So when it gave me nothing, I just was like, this isn't even like bad. It's just like, it's not shit, but it's just like nothing. It's boring.
Yeah.
It's like boring gameplay. And
part of the problem for me as well is that the kind of the shock factor that they were going for, which I assume is what they. I mean, they've even said that it's not meant to be like it's meant to be a horror game. That's what one of the developers said. Like, you're supposed to feel like some sort of revulsion
Not
or
a horror
the
game.
fact that what you're doing is so inhuman, etc. But the main problem with that is that it's everything's so exaggerated, everything's stylized. Like, you've got this kind of black and white murky world, which, I mean, I like the design of the world. I've got to hand it to them. It's a really nice looking environment they've created. But it's like, say you're watching Rambo. This is the best analogy I can think of. If you watch the last Rambo film, there is a moment where he goes up behind someone and he rips his throat out because he's about to attack a woman. But the thing is, the build up to that is so cartoony and stupid that it becomes a funny moment, not like he's a hero, more like that was quality in an 80s action film kind of way. Because he stands up and he's like glaring at him, he's like, and then he grabs his throat and he like rips it out and then just stares at him on the floor. Every single execution animation that I've seen in Hatred is essentially that. Like, when he cuts the throat, it's not like a quick like slice or anything. He like holds the knife up and he's like, and then he's like waving his arm about, and when he stabs people in the back, instead of like actually stabbing as you would stab, he does like weird arm movements to exaggerate it. It's all exaggerated, it's all over the top, and it's all cartoony. So the shock factor and the kind of, I can't believe I'm actually doing this, is lost by the fact that you just like,
you go back to talking about story here. I mean, like, there is no story. That's the thing. I mean, I'm not saying there should be a story in the game, but like, you burst into somebody's house. Maybe it goes into, I don't know, maybe there's like, I've been playing too much Witcher, but like, maybe it goes into like a dialogue selection with the people in the house, and it's like, that I'm going to kill your child. And then you shoot the child, and then it's like, I'm going to remember you, or something. Like, honestly, I think I could have made a right sick game the way I'm going on here. But like, I expected that. Like, I thought, right, okay. It was the first time I played the game on the video I made, and I won't play the game because it's boring, but I was expecting it just to be completely fucking absolutely like horrendous. Like, this is just like,
I was expecting to see essentially
nothing.
like a nightmare, like something that you'd see almost like, I know it sounds horrible, but when there was the attack on that the French cartoonist place, like, and there were those guys like wandering the streets, I was expecting something like that, something where you look at it and you're like, I can't believe this is happening. Not looking at it and being like, well, okay. Because that's the only reaction I get, and it's like, in a way, I can see where the outrage has come from, and in a way, I was part of that outrage because of the video I made, and I was like, oh, this is disgraceful, this is despicable. When really, I was being kind of hypocritical in a sense because I've done stuff like that in other games, but at the same time, having actually viewed it and seen it, it's just not that.
The problem with that attitude, though, is like this is like, you get into the whole thing of like, you can be disgusted with it. I think it's a stupid idea for a game. But then there are the people who argue the point of like, well, what about freedom of speech? What about this? You can't censor things just because you don't like them.
Yeah.
And that's fair enough to a point. But this game just does not deliver what it looked like it would deliver. The trailer with the guy talking about how he's going to do things to people is literally the worst part of the game. And that's it. It's just, the rest of it is kind of like, well, I don't know. It's just like, it isn't very good. They could have gone like really extreme and took it to a level of like and made it completely like notorious to a degree. Where this is like, wow, this game is like the worst game that's ever been made. It's just sickos, and that maybe would have helped them a bit. I don't know, but like, personally, from a game point of view, it's not very interesting. It's a bit boring. It looks nice. It plays well. The environment is nice, as Kiri said, and it's destructible, which also is pretty good.
So the shell is fine. The content itself is not.
Well,
it's just not. It just doesn't. I just don't think it works. Just like when you made the comment about how it could actually work quite well as like a zombie game. I agree with that part mostly because I don't want to be in a world where half the stuff in there isn't a threat. It's like that's not satisfying gameplay to me because there's no challenge to shooting.
Somebody actually said as well, it's just like, where's the body count? Which did make me laugh in the comments in the videos, and I just thought, why isn't there like a kill count or something? Like, you've murdered this many people. Like,
it's like weird. Quite a basic thing given the context of the game to be missing, isn't it? Well, weird.
They probably think a kill counter on the screen makes it too arcadey and not real, but then the game just is kind of arcadey and not
I don't
very
think it's not
hard
going to
hitting.
go down in history as some sort of notorious title. It's not going to. It's never going to. It's not going to be like
Oh
the next
no,
Postal. Like Postal still talked about as holy crap. Do you remember Postal? This is just going to be. It's just going to be a footnote of like games that followed on from that kind of game,
well,
but
yeah,
didn't really make an impact with it.
I'm looking at the comments on the video I've got now, and well, the video I made, and there's like 200 odd comments on this, and you just literally do get one or the other. I mean, I'll read the latest comment, and it just says there doesn't seem to be much going on in this game at all. Run around and kill random people. That's it. The art style and everything is really nice and really well done, but there's just not a lot to do. Once you get past the initial shock, there's not much to this game at all. That is exactly what I said in the video, and that is exactly a great description. And that you can, well, you can't see because you're not looking at what I'm looking at, but unless Kiri's being a magician. 6 minutes ago, this is to me, this comment. So this is like, it's not something that I've prepped to read before this show. It has just happened. Then you've got somebody else who says, all in all, the game looks solid. The only issue really is the fact it seems a bit dull. Like, honestly, Sty could have followed the objectives a bit more and probably just shown more of the game and its challenges. But let's face it, it's pretty bland and generic aside from its attention to small details, which is, again, is true.
Yeah.
And then you've got like, thanks for the vid. Utilizing controversy to leverage publicity and subsequently profit is an old trick. Okay, well, that's a bit of a boring comment. Hatred is a shit game that caught some hype. Everyone expects it to be a masterpiece. I can just keep going on. I mean, I'm trying to find one which is like the other point of view, because you either get people who understand what I'm saying in the video and are like, this isn't really that shocking, what the hell? And then you get people who seem to completely, utterly get it totally wrong. And
there was one, I won't see if I can find it because I think it's buried somewhere in like a chain of other comments. But there was one that basically said, all you've said in this video is, oh, this just takes me out of my comfort zone. It would be better if it didn't take me out of my comfort zone. And I was reading that and I was like, I don't even know what video you were watching.
Yeah.
That's not even remotely relevant to it. And in fact, I think most people, if they played it, it wouldn't really take them out of their comfort zone, because I don't think they're trying to make a statement. I think they're just trying to make cash off controversy, in which case they've probably succeeded quite well. But in a way, that's disappointing because the game could have been a statement on so much more, but they've not really tried to make it about anything. It's just that's the shock value of seeing it initially is the entire content of the game.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you what this game is. This is just the only people who are going to make a load of money off this are YouTube channels covering it. That's all I'm going to say. I don't think it's going to sell very well. I mean, I'm just trying to go to Steam now just to check out.
Is it on Steam? I can't remember.
Yeah, because I played it through Steam, but I think it's not out yet.
Upcoming. There it is. Yeah, it's out 1st of June.
Yeah, so we won't be able to tell, But because we've had access to it already, people are going to watch this and just realize that it's not exactly very shocking, and then they're not going to play it. Because why would you buy this game? To play it because it's shocking, and it just isn't. So I think they've fucked themselves over by basically giving it out to YouTube. Okay, they get a lot of press, but I don't think that's going to convert into sales because people are just going to see the game and be like, well, this isn't actually very shocking. So, yeah, weird. Anyway, so what have you been playing, Mr. Kirill?
Well, I played Witcher 3, finally. I got my arse into gear and I actually went and found the other PR code that we had. And I want to talk about it, but I feel like
when he says PR code, guys, he just means like we get second games for free by developers and stuff. That's what he means.
We got a couple of codes for review, so I grabbed mine, and it sounds in a way a bit samey, but I can only really echo what you said last week, which is just the game is like, the world is pretty much perfect. I haven't found anything to complain about in terms of the world. Every quest I've come across has ended up being interesting in some way or another, usually in a way that I didn't expect. Like, even knowing some of the quests beforehand, because you've told me about them, I still went into them and I still found them like enjoyable. Like, if someone can sit there and say, I did this and it was amazing, and then you do the same thing and you still find it amazing, that's the sign of a good story.
And also, you can do it differently. That's the other thing as well. Like, generally, people. I mean, whereabouts are you? And I'll see if I can remember some of the quests that I've done, and we'll have a little discussion.
Well,
see like how differently we've tackled things.
I murdered the griffin, and I took the coin off the guy. I found the woman by like the wraith woman by the well, the crazy haunted well. The first time I came across her, she was like level 7, and she butchered me because I wasn't paying attention. She just wiped me out. I was like, okay. I found the guy who is like, oh, my horse got attacked, like my horse got eaten. can you go and sort it out for me? My cart's down there, and there's
Oh yeah,
my
okay.
horse
So
got...
what did you do? Did you run through that little quest?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. So what happened then? Okay, tell me what you did.
I went through that. I went to go and find out, like, went to go where his horse was apparently eaten, and
Yeah.
I was like, well, for a start, it doesn't even look like it's been eaten because there's like arrows everywhere. It's like it's clearly some sort of fight's going down. And then I went back to him. I was like, what is this about? This is clearly nonsense. You know what you're talking about. And he tried to pull the whole "there's someone behind you" trick, and obviously being Geralt, you're like, no, like, there's nothing behind me. I'm a Witcher. Why do you think I'm an idiot? But with that, in the end, I took the supplies and left because I was like, I need these. Because you can either let them have him and he can go off and help the resistance, can't you? Or you can be like, yeah, well, I need these, so I'll take them.
So, like, what happened? You see, because I let him keep them. I just said, oh, okay, piss off and fight your underground war.
You know what? I've honestly not come across that bit yet. I'm looking forward to that because I think that's probably going to be
What? No. At the end of the quest, I told him to keep the supplies and get out of my face.
Yeah, and he just leaves, doesn't he? When I did
what did he do for you?
Well, he cursed me out a bit. He told me that I was a disgusting freak, I believe, as well. And he wandered off. And then later on, as I was walking about, like, I let him live. I just told him to piss off, and I took the supplies. Later on, there in one of the villages, I was like, okay, so I'm here. What am I going to do? You overhear a conversation, which I think is related, but I haven't investigated it yet.
Okay.
Where someone talks about how some rebels got, like, wounded, but then you don't, like, they're walking past and it's like, oh, did you hear about them rebels? Oh, they got butchered. Oh, they're really bad. And you see the guy, like, further along, and I saw him go, like, out of the village. I think what's happened is I took his supplies, I told him to piss off, he went away, the guys he was supposed to help are now dead, and in an attempt to try and, like, do something about it, some more rebels have been captured or something. I've not found where that is yet, though, because I got caught in combat with a bunch of idiots, essentially. And
the thing is, like, I've never met the guy again since I said that to him. He was like, oh, praises on you, blah, blah, blah. Foltest will be proud, although Foltest is dead. Long live Temeria, and then walked off. And I was like, Garrett said something ridiculous, like, fucking idiot, and just carried on my life. I've not seen him since.
Yeah,
but, like, the fact that you've got these little bits on the side, like, again, like, that's the great thing about this game. Everything's, like, interconnected. You do something. Like, I mean, on Hotfix, I went on about the thing about the hunter where you have to kill the feral dogs, and he basically he was a homosexual with the Lord's son.
Yeah.
But the Lord's son committed suicide, and you can find his grave. Like, you see the name on the grave. Now, that could just be anyone's name. You know, think about games like Dragon Age, it would have just been anyone's name on the latest Dragon Age anyway. This, though, it was the guy's name. And it's like, shit, that is the Lord's son's name. And it's like, I know why he's dead. And that is great, because that is how the real world works. Because there's a story behind everything, isn't there? And I think that's what they've tried to do. I follow Dan's Gaming on Twitter. All he does is stream Witcher 3. He streamed it for 11 days since basically it came out every day for like 10 hours a day or something ridiculous. He said, I'm not even 50% through the game. I'm just like, what? The amount of content in this game is completely staggering.
Yeah.
Skellige is a region, okay? And it is absolutely massive. I'm not... Like, you know where... what's it called? I don't know what the region's called, but it's the region you're in. It's the region I'm in. I've not even been to Skellige. But it is massive. And I've seen a video of a guy and was like, Skellige doesn't look that big on the map, but it's absolutely massive. It's like, this is like bigger, like twice the size of the region where you start off in. This is a region with so many like towns and villages. And I don't even like...
I don't know how long it's going to take me to get out of the starting area, because every time I do anything, I stumble across something. And it's like, this is interesting. What's happening? I don't know how, like... And if every region is that detailed, it's like just the amount of work that's gone into it is like worthy.
It's just phenomenal.
It's just insane.
3 years apparently it's took to make this game, which I don't think is that long for as much detail as that is actually in this game. Like, you know what I feel? I really feel like this is a game that is. I would have paid 60 quid for this game, and I just would have been like, "Do I need to give you some more money?" Because you would expect there to be like shit. You know what I mean? Like there would be like stuff you really don't want to do. But everything I have done, I've actually got pretty much a usable reward from everything I've done, even if I've just done things randomly. Like when I found this absolutely amazing sword, just in the middle of nowhere, and it was amazing. But like, what? I don't know. It's really crazy. And there's a quest like I did for it was a witch contract for something they called the locals called the Screecher. It's not a Screecher. Like I really like the witch contracts because it's like the locals are idiots and they don't understand what things are, so they give them names, and it's like the Screecher got me, daddy. He killed him. And then like the bloke's like, who's took the kid in? His father's been killed, so I took the lad in. He don't talk much these days. So I went around to talk to the kid, and the kid's like, the Screecher, he killed me, dad. And he's getting, like, he won't talk to you because his dad's dead. So Garrett's like, talk to me, let me know what's going on. And the kid's not having it. So I used the sign on the kid to just brainwash him. And he's like, so then he tells me what I want to hear. But there was other options. Like, I could have been, no, come here, lad. Everything will be fine. Like, show some compassion to him. But I was like, fuck off. I just brainwashed the kid. So I wanted the information out of him. It goes on from there a little bit more. And then you get to a cave. And in the cave is this Screecher, but it's a cockatrice, I think it is, because you work out that's what it is. It's like a massive killer turkey. It looks crazy. But they fly, and they roost in places where you can't get to them. So you have to make a grenade, a smoke bomb, and throw it up there to smoke it out. And it goes, and it starts going all fucking crazy. But then you think, okay, I'm going to fight it, because this cave area looks fairly big. No, it flies out of the cave, and it's like you've got to chase the thing now. I'm like, what the hell? So I'm chasing after this thing, trying to shoot it with my crossbow, like knock it out of the sky. And then, like, I'm literally having a fight with this thing, like a mile away from where, and I killed it. And it's like, whoa. The Witcher contracts are really good. And they're always, like, really good rewards in terms of money. You seem to get a ton of money for doing Witcher contracts, which kind of just make me laugh a little bit, because these peasants, like, why would they have 200 or 300 crowns? A peasant's got no money, but he's got like 300 crowns, and he's like, and I'm there bartering away, like, no, I want more. And he's like, please, me lord, it's all I got. Like, no, give it me. Oh, then hang on. Actually, at the end of this quest, I spoke to the guy, told him I did it. He paid me. Come up, Witcher contract complete. Quest done. But I thought, no, I'm going to go and speak to the kid. So I went into the house, spoke to the kid. I said to him, I've avenged your father's death. And he's like, oh, thank you, Mr. Witcher. And then it came up with some chat options. One of them was give the kid the money. I was like, fuck off. Kept the money. But like, one of the options was to give the kid the money. Now, maybe if I did give him the money, maybe something else would have happened. But I was just like, no, I need the fucking money. So I kept it. And I just love that shit. It is. I keep going on about it. I just seem like it's all I'm talking about this game in every fucking podcast we do. But it's just like, it's the best game I've played all year. It's probably one of the best games I've played full stop, just because you can get lost in a world, and it's not a world which is make believe. It is make believe, but it's like
it's so complete.
You feel like it's real.
It's like everything is like everything finishes, everything resolves somehow. Like the guy that I just took the supplies off and told him to piss off. It's like I don't know when I'm going to see him again, but I really think I'm going to see him again, because I've done something that's affected that specific cause there.
You've affected the world, yeah. Like, you keep changing the world, yeah.
The only regret I have so far is I think I messed up a choice, and I think I messed it up quite badly, where I might have to go back and see if I can do it again. Is
this a spoiler? Give us a spoiler alert, and then
no, I don't think it is. It's just to kill the Griffin at the start. It's part of that quest chain, where you go to the herbalist woman to ask, where can I find this plant?
Claire, is it Claire or somebody? Yeah.
And there's that poor woman who's been mauled, and she's like lying in the herbalist hut.
I just let her die.
Well, the thing is, there was a suggestion there where you could use a Witcher potion on her. Oh, but there's a chance that if you use the Witcher potion, like, it'll be agonizing and horrendous. But I chose not to do it. I was just like, well, she's going to die anyway. We won't bother. I kind of wish I had, because I really want to know, like, it sounds harsh. I want to know whether she just died or whether she went mental and started screaming the place down and then died. Like, I don't know which one it was, but I want to go back and do it. But it's like, for every quest there is, I kind of feel like I'd quite like to go back and see what happens if I take the other choice. Like, I took the money from the captain guy, the general guy. I keep forgetting his name for the Griffin.
Oh yeah, he's just like a Nilfgaardian. I don't think he's got a name, has he? Or maybe he has. He's a Nilfgaardian general, basically.
But it's like, what would happen? What would have happened if I'd have said, I don't want your money? Like, would you have some sort of extra respect? Would that lead to another quest later on? Would word of that get around? Or, would the fact that I took it...
Replayability is massively high with this game. Like, it's going to take you hundreds of hours to complete the game anyway. So then, like, if you're going to play it again, that's pretty mad. Obviously, you'll be much faster. But there has been talk that there are certain decisions which ultimately affect the outcome of the game, and it doesn't actually alert you to this. It's like you just think you're completing a quest.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously these are probably main quests when you do the main story quest, because it's like multiple quests within the main story. Certain decisions you may make, like I feel I've made one already, just because of the gravity of the decision I made, and the thing that I did was absolutely bad, and it was like this is going to be bad, and there's been references to what I've done, but I don't tell people what I've done. Like I haven't owned up that I've done it, but it's like, oh yes, an entire village is dead. I caused that, but I haven't admitted it to anyone. Like when I was asked like what's happened here, I'm just like I have no idea. It's like I do because I've done that, you know. So like maybe that was one of the big decisions, because it's almost like I've unleashed a thing across the world now, which is really bad. I'm being vague.
It sounds like that's going to have some sort of massive effect.
Yeah, it does. It's like, what have you done, Mr. Witcher?
But it's like with everything. Even like the guy with the supplies. Like I'm kind of tempted to go back at some point and be like, yeah, no, keep your supplies. You know, I want to know what happens. The quests are good enough that like I want to know what every outcome is, not just the outcome I've picked. I want to know what the possibilities were, and I really like that because it feels like
it's not so cut. It isn't just like cut and dry, is it? It's you don't like people that were moaning about this. Oh, there's a couple of decisions which apparently affect the outcome of the game, and whether you get like a negative ending or a fairly well, you're not going to get a good ending, but like a okay ending, a sort of morally acceptable ending sort of thing. Because you could go through the game making good decisions, but when you get to these critical decisions, you could still make a good decision, but that could still be bad. And that's what I like about the game, because you have to like kind of weigh up. It's like,
yeah,
okay, maybe allowing this thing to live would be the right thing to do. It doesn't seem dangerous, but there are clues and hints where it could actually be quite dangerous. So if you haven't read those and then you allow it to live, which you might think is the good move, is actually the bad move, because you have been given the information which tells you this thing is an absolute murderer, yet you've still gone ahead and said it's okay. So I don't know, like I just don't think you cannot level criticism at that game, because there are little things. Okay, I think which annoys me is they tend to put like in a lot of the towns, like the little villages, they put the fast travel sign next to the notice board. So when you want to click on the notice board, the fast travel comes up. It's like, come on, and it's a bit annoying. Little things like that, but like you said on Hotfix with the horse getting stuck, you know, and things like that. It's like, okay, but you just don't even care because the rest of the game is just so magnificent. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, just go out and buy it, guys. I've had enough of talking about it. Just go out and buy it, and I should be playing it now instead of doing this. But there you go.
Essentially, it's on. I think it's one of those things where there are like certain games where it's like if you're a gamer, then you should have played this. I think Witcher 3 has got to be.
I really do not know anybody who I would not recommend the game to.
Yeah.
Because it's just, I don't know anybody who say I do not like this game.
It's that good. It just is that good.
I mean, even if you're like an FPS fan or whatever, you should still play this game. You'll be like, Jesus Christ, this is actually really good. You will. You just will be. Anyway, so other games. Well, I guess we've both played is Heroes of the Storm.
Now
I played this a little bit more than you this week. I played it on Sub Sunday on the stream, which is just when we get together with the subscribers and play games with them. The Twitch subs, that is, which I always make abundantly clear, yet people still turn up and are like, why can't I play with you? And I'm like, I said Twitch subscribers, not YouTube.
It even says in the title of the thing,
but
Sunday, but never mind.
Yeah, so I played it, and I don't think it's Heroes of the Storm which has done this to me. Any MOBA will do this to me. Probably, well, maybe not Dota 2 because I literally do not understand the game, but like League of Legends would, and like maybe things like Smite does and stuff like that, where you get this like MOBA buzz. It's like, oh yeah, this is actually, I'm enjoying this. Everything's going like interesting. I think where Heroes of the Storm is a little bit different to other MOBAs I've played in the past is it doesn't really seem too bad that I've lost, but I think that might be just because I'm not very good at it, or not very, like I haven't played it a lot. So when I do lose, I've still had a good time.
Yeah.
And the games are pretty quick, so it's like I have lost it, but it's kind of okay. But I guess like one thing I did notice when we played with Rui yesterday on, well, I say yesterday, this was Thursday on the stream. I could already kind of feel it, like, oh, fucking hell. Like, we were saying things like, what is this Nova doing? She's just AFK in the base.
Yeah.
And that is, like, where you start getting down the path of, like, rage. I mean, Kiri knows this more than anyone, but you just end up like, I fucking hate this game. And it's not the game you hate, it's just the players.
Yeah. But the thing is, I mean, that was like, that was towards the end of the like the session, and that game wasn't like, we did really well in the games before. Like, they were still like close games. I think it's fair to say we had close games all the way through, but they were in like every game. I have like distinct memories of something going down like absolutely perfectly. Like I it sounds bad, but I wasn't focusing that much on what you guys were doing, largely because I didn't know what the hell was going on with me. So it was like,
oh yeah, no, true. I mean, like
what the hell's happening? But
when I was Tychus, I called down the Odin, and I got everything on. Like, they were bunched up, and I fired everything at them, and I like absolutely mullered them. I was like, holy shit! And it felt really good when I did it. It's like, this is great. Now it's probably a combination of like the team rooted them or something in place, but the fact that I fired that made me feel like shit. I mean, I do think it's the best looking MOBA. I really do. I think it looks really nice, that game. It's Blizzard. It's got the polish and all of that stuff. It is enjoyable, but like, I fear that if I keep playing this, it's just going to devolve back to how League of Legends was for me, where you're going to be really angry because people are not playing the game properly. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't think you can ever get rid of that. I mean, I guess it's like when we spoke about League of Legends on Hotfix with the toxic communities.
Yeah. It's like, it's difficult.
Most of the games we played yesterday, on Thursday, were people started raging in the chat. Remember that Jimmy Rayner, we were calling him?
I had the chat muted for all but the last game, I think.
Well, this Jimmy Rayner guy was running it. You could see how stupid he was. He was pushing lanes and overextending really far down a lane. So he was like really open to the gank, and he was getting killed. And then he was moaning, "Where's my support? What's going on?" And it's just like, mate, the rest of the team is nowhere near you. Like, if you just ran off in the lane, how are we supposed to know? It's like so ridiculous. I mean, you can really truly play a MOBA or any kind of game that's competitive and relies on a lot of teamwork when you're in like TeamSpeak or something. You can't like do it over text unless the players know what to do, you know, because they're high level players. But like at our level, you don't get that. So you just get a random guy runs off, and it's like, that always gets you. But like, forget about that. What do you think? What do you think about the game itself? Considering we've played it, I mean, I've had access to that game for well over a year, and I played it when I first got it. We played it, didn't we? Remember, and we actually quite enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well,
I remember playing as like Muradin and stuff, but then
I've
I
just got
like,
a video of us playing as Uther and Muradin together. Playing at the moment, and you know,
when was that from?
Oh, a long time ago.
It'll say on the video of it.
A few months. Let me get it, and it is 2014, October 27th. So it's quite
like
a long
8
time
months ago. Yeah,
but I really enjoy it. Like, I enjoy it more than. I think, honestly, I enjoy it more than I ever enjoyed League of Legends. And I played that game a lot. Like, I didn't have, like, a fleeting go of League of Legends. I played it, you know, pretty much every night for, like, maybe a year. And I really enjoyed it. But Heroes of the Storm it's kind of got that kind of, I guess it's just the Blizzard touch, isn't it? Where everything kind of just seems, if not polished, then interesting or fun or just different enough. Like, things like the talents, for instance. I really like playing Uther, and I really like the talents available to Uther. Like, there was a moment yesterday where it only happened once because it was just so hectic a lot of the time, but I got every single ability off exactly when it should be. So, you know, I made Rui invincible as he dived into the fight, and I managed to heal someone else and cleanse someone else and shield someone else and lay down an AoE heal all at the same time, and it was like, holy crap, that was amazing. Like, that felt.
But you get that in
good.
any game. You get that in League of Legends.
But for some reason, I think because of the sheer kind of how hectic the fights are, because they are, like, when you have a proper full-on team fight, it's very kind of. I wouldn't say it's chaotic, because it shouldn't really be chaotic, because you know what you're doing. Like, you should be able to recognize who to attack. But it's like it's so kind of. It feels like there's a lot of power there, and when you do the right thing, due to the way the game presents itself, and like just the character designs, the way everything's kind of larger than life, and just the way that the effects are done and stuff, I kind of feel like it has more of a draw to me personally because of the design of it. It kind of feels more almost cartoony in a way.
You know what annoys me with the game? The fact that it doesn't actually rely that much on like 1v1. It's just like when you're in a lane, okay. Like, when I played League of Legends, I really enjoyed playing mid, and I really like the early game where it's you versus the other person in mid, and you've got to watch out for ganks coming from the jungle but that's it. And that is literally 15 minutes of the game at the start. It's 1v1. You either get completely destroyed, you completely dominate them, or it's close. Or maybe you need support from your jungler to come in. That's non-existent in this game, from what I can tell. The laning phase lasts for about a minute, and then it's just like everyone is all over the place.
There's a lot more roaming.
The team fights are just going on all over the place. So while you can feel like, yeah, I've done a really good thing, it doesn't seem to me like it's so like...
It's like it doesn't have as much of an impact, does it?
Yeah, so like Zeratul
like it has much of an impact.
Yeah. So we played a game which we won. But at the start of the game, Zeratul he's basically what's that bloody character from League of Legends that used to be? Is it Evelyn? I think it's Evelyn, and it was invisible all the time.
Yeah.
He's like that. So he's invis, and he just ganks you in the lane. And you don't see him coming because you can, if you look really closely, see it like there's a shimmer. But like Kerry said, there's so much shit going on the screen. It's pretty hard to see this. I'm not sure if turning the graphics down lower will make it easier to see, because it does in StarCraft 2 with the cloak effect on the Banshees and stuff, because it's the same engine this as you see StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
So I bet it probably does, but whatever. It just like he ganked us, killed me a couple of times, but we still won that game. And it's like, I think we won the game anyway, but it didn't really feel like there was much impact, from what he was doing. Whereas if that was League of Legends and I was getting repeatedly murdered in a mid, their mid character would be absolutely solid and wreck the mid turret and then go roaming. And then there's two of them roaming, and then the team's in a world of hurt. There just isn't that in this game. And it just, okay, maybe there is, but not at my level. But it doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah. See, for me,
I still enjoy playing it, but
that doesn't bother me so much. I think because I've preferred like either playing a tank.
I always like the 1v1 element though,
or a support so far. Like no matter whether I was playing Uther or ETC, I really enjoyed both of those characters because they had elements of like supporting the team. And when we play, when I played League before I stopped playing, I started playing top, but then I just went into jungle and I ended up jungling pretty much all the time. And in a way, that's kind of, it's slightly similar in that you're not really out for yourself as the jungler in League of Legends, at least not to start out with. You're trying to gank the lanes and give your lane support, which is like kind of the same principle that I aim at in Heroes. So that doesn't bother me as much. In fact, I like the fact that there's a lot of roaming about and like team fights can happen anywhere. It's like there's an objective here, the whole team needs to turn up. If they're already doing it and you can get the jump on them, then that's brilliant. If it happens to you, you kind of you're doing a fighting retreat. And although individual deaths and stuff don't seem to impact the game that much.
Yeah, and especially at the start, when we were going down the mines to collect these skulls. And
you remember that at the start of the game? Over and over again.
You come back really quick, and it's good because you don't like have to wait, I guess, a long time. Although it just seems to get longer and longer as the levels increase, up to like a minute. I think it takes to respawn when you die at the end. But it was just like a complete gank train. You're just running back down the mine, and it is kind of fun to do. Yeah.
But then when you get
towards
it's like
when you die at the start
of
the game, it doesn't really matter if you die immediately in the lane. If you did in League of Legends, you're fucked, eh? It's like, oh god, I've died. I've just given them a load of money. Holy shit, things are bad. Now I've got to wait to respawn and then get back in the lane. In this, it's like I'm died. 10 seconds later, I'm back in the lane.
And it does scale as well. It's just like, the thing is, like towards the end of the game, if you die, it's like, oh god, this is bad. Like, this is really bad.
Where do you think this is going? Like Rui seems to believe this is going to be a massive game, and I don't agree with that. I think it's going to be okay. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near the amount of players Hearthstone's got for a start, that Blizzard's got.
See, for me, I kind of, on the one hand, it's facing like severe competition, like really tough competition. Dota 2 and League of Legends have got such a massive stranglehold on that genre that it almost feels pointless other people attempting to get into it. Like we're seeing things like the 40k mode, we're seeing things like Strife.
Nobody will play them.
Things like Dawn
Gate. Strife went to shit. Strife's
like,
gone as well.
It's just like there doesn't seem any point attempting to tackle that market.
Apart from the God game, which I forgot the name of, who knows spoke about it.
But that's sufficiently different to those two that I think it's kind of got its own niche, hasn't it? It's like it's a different take on it, which I guess is what you need. You need a different take because you can't just do a clone of Dota 2 or League of Legends.
Which is what Blizzard Heroes is, though, isn't it? It's like a different take on it to a degree.
That's the thing. I think,
and I know all the heroes as well. Most of them, anyway.
I don't think it's going to be as big, but I don't think it's going to be like
insignificant.
No population. I think we'll see a good number of people playing it because it does have that difference to it, and it does have that unique flavor that Blizzard are good at bringing. It's like, I mean, it's kind of in a similar way. You could kind of say, well, what's Overwatch going to do? Well, Overwatch isn't really like. It's kind of like plenty of games but it isn't any of those games. It's like it's taken bits and pieces from other stuff and mixed it in. And I think Heroes has got enough of that actually it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna like topple League of Legends or Dota 2. I think it's probably going to do a lot better than Smite. It'll probably be somewhere between the two. I think it'll be reasonably
that's
popular.
kind of a good.
Population.
That's a good comparison. That is because I think I think Overwatch may have a slight advantage in that respect because if you look at the shooters at the moment, right, you've got Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which is like the premier FPS game basically, but that's hardcore. It's very accurate. It's very fast. It's fast when you get into the shoot and you die immediately and stuff like that. Whereas Overwatch is very slow. It's got a very reduced time to kill. So you're attacking somebody for some time before they die or they can heal, and they've got that bit of team element into that, with the abilities and buffs. The only other place you can kind of get that is Team Fortress 2. And that's not, I don't think that's that much of a problem. I think what we've got here, basically, is Overwatch will be the League of Legends of the FPS genre. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what they're betting on. Because if you look at the MOBAs, you've got LoL, which is the accessible MOBA, which does have a high skill ceiling, but it's the accessible MOBA, or it was. Then you've got Dota, which is the Madman's MOBA, and then you've got Heroes of the Storm turning up, which is trying to be this friendly, team-orientated, easy to get in MOBA. But League of Legends kind of is that already, and it's so big you can't. I don't think they won't affect them.
It does have that variation that League of Legends doesn't like. League of Legends is always going to be the same map. It's always going to be the same objectives. Whereas I think by adding in that choice, Heroes of the Storm is kind of. I think. I
agree with that. Let me just finish making my point. I agree with that, but the difference with Overwatch is there is no League of Legends. There's just Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and then nothing. So if you turn up as the accessible shooter, they've even said that they want people who, maybe they just play World of Warcraft. They've never played shooters in their life. They want them to be able to play this. I mean, I jokingly said, Kiri will be good at this because he can play fucking some tank character or something where he hasn't got to rely on Twitch shooting people and all this crap because he might not be the best at that, but he knows tactically where to be. So if he rushes in and fucking smacks people out of the way or something, or drops down a massive shield over an objective, he's doing something in this FPS game. Whereas before, he's just getting killed immediately. In Counter-Strike, everybody is based on Twitch shooting, speed of shooting, and all of that shit.
Which is accuracy. Why I don't play Counter-Strike.
And it's like why you will always get beat by somebody if they're better than you. But if it's a class-based game, you get the rock, paper, scissors mechanic, the tank comes around the corner and you're a healer, well, you've probably got a problem because he's going to, or like you're DPS and there's a tank, well, you're probably going to, if you're DPS and there's a healer, would be the best example, I guess, you're probably going to get annihilated unless you can do something about it. And I think that's the difference. But Overwatch is an interesting thing. I mean, I haven't been playing Overwatch because I don't have access to Overwatch. I think only a couple of people have actually played that anyway. Maybe a few hundred potentially. Events and stuff. I know some people with YouTube channels have been invited to stuff as well. But I've been watching those videos that they keep releasing. The last one was the Tracer video.
I like those.
You sound like a 25 kill streak. It's a bit newbie, the gameplay, but I mean, it's just Blizzard in-house devs. It's not, you're not going to be seeing like insane plays or anything. It's like that, they're just playing the game. But I don't know. That looks interesting. Yeah. So Heroes of the Storm. What was you going to say before I finish my point?
I reckon I think with the variety that they've got with the. They've made things like actually building your characters a lot more accessible. I think because there's no shop. There's no having to go back for anything.
But that don't matter, does it? Because there still is a shop because you're just picking your character, your traits, aren't you? You change the way you play.
But I think the way it's presented makes a big difference because I think people like when you look at like the Dota 2 shop, like when we used to play LoL, you knew what to buy. Like you knew this character buys this, and you would find it in the shop, and it's like okay, so that guy buys that guy buys that. The first time you play League of Legends, it's like, holy, what is all of this? It's like, do I take the health thing, the AD thing, the AP thing? Do I take that thing with armor? Do I take the thing with magic resist? It's like, what the hell is all of this? By restricting essentially what you can get to a talent-based system where it's like, there are no items in the shop. There's only, if you play Uther, then you will only get talents that work for Uther because that's just how the game is. It takes away the uncertainty of looking through a big list of stuff. And that combined with the fact that, a lot of the time you don't really need to go back in Heroes of the Storm. It's very action orientated and it's got a lot more in the way of, no, that's not fair. It hasn't got a lot more in the way of objective based play, but the objectives are obvious. Like when the game is loading, it's like, this is the plant level. You kill the plants, you get the seedlings, and then your big plant monster grows. That's what it says. Like it tells you. Whereas the first time you go into League of Legends, it's like, okay, well, we need to go to Baron. You're going to have half the people on the team going, what the hell's Baron? It's like they've made everything like clear and precise and easy to understand for the first time player, which I think is going to. I'm not going to. As I said, it's not going to be more popular than LoL or Dota 2. I'd be amazed if it was. But I think it's the right balance of accessible and, I guess, addictive and skill based to mean that you will get a lot of people trying it, and you also get a lot of people wanting to get really good at it.
I mean, like, the game does have items because the talents are items. They change the way you play. But let's face this, when you play League of Legends, and I'm guessing this is still the case, you generally bought the same items every game. So how is that any different than selecting the same talents every game? It kind of isn't. There are different items you would buy, like maybe you get the armor that resurrects you, Ghosts Aegis. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
Guardian Angel, that's it. GAMM. You come back after you die. You know, maybe that could be an item that you would change in your tank build or something like that. But with this, I mean, you can. I mean, I noticed myself playing it. Right, I've not looked at any guides at all. Yeah, I'm playing Vayne. I'm not playing Vayne. I'm playing the Demon Hunter, and I'm looking at my abilities. Right, I'm in lane on my own. I'm in mid. Okay, not for very long because it's Heroes of the Storm. My first talent, I can either have Hungering Arrow, gives me health. Hungering Arrow cooldown reduced and uses less mana, or a couple of other things. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to need health, aren't I? Then when I level up again, it's like basic attacks are vampiric, so I heal myself when I attack. So then I take that because I know I'm in a 1v1 situation to a degree. Yeah, if I was with somebody else in the lane, I'm going to take things which are going to allow me to do more damage. You know, be a bit more aggressive. So I like that aspect because I'm not looking at guides. I mean, the guide thing is just look at Dota 2. I do not understand the items in that game at all. I would just get a guide. The guide system, I think, is okay. Like, you know, where you can select in the menu, like, what do you want to do? And it just shows you the items to buy.
Yeah.
And I'm literally just buying them because I have no idea what they do. And it would take me hours and hours and hours of gameplay, loads of reading to find out what they do. Whereas in Heroes of the Storm, I don't need to do that. And I think that is pretty good. But yeah. I think you're right. I mean, let's just wrap up talking about Heroes of the Storm. But I think you're right. I think it would be very shocking if this became, like, bigger than League of Legends. Well, it won't be. But if it became, like, on par with Dota, let's say, I'd be shocked. But yeah, it still is an interesting game. It's an interesting game. It's obviously free to play as well, guys. You can download it right now. It's an open beta.
But I think it's going to be interesting to watch it, and I'm kind of I can see myself getting into it. I think it still has that issue that pretty much any multiplayer game's got, where it's like there's going to be someone on your team who's a complete nab. But if you can kind of get past that, it's just, again, it's that thing of Blizzard, isn't it? It's like they kind of take the things that they like out of different games and slam them together, and somehow it usually ends up being something pretty fun. I mean, it's worked for Heroes of the Storm, it's worked for Hearthstone. It's one of the reasons I'm looking forward to Overwatch so much, because, well, they've got a good track record for doing that kind of thing. So,
well, so we played Akiba Strip.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
Oh dear.
What was that? What is wrong with that country? I'm sorry, I can't. It sounds racist, but it's like, it's weird.
I know, if you've got any Japanese views, we don't mean to be offensive or anything, but I'm so far removed from your culture. I literally do not understand anything. I mean, this is a game about a teenage boy, it looked like to me, who has to fight people by ripping their clothes off so they die in sunlight in the streets of Akiba. That's why it's called Akiba Strip, because you're stripping people in Akiba. And it's like, how is this a game? Because then you fight like little girls and see their underwear. You can actually change your like equipment loadout, so you can change your underwear. So when you get your clothes ripped off, you look different. And it's like,
I feel like there's some sort of vast cultural gap that
if I walked into the local police station and said, hello, I've just been playing a game where I rip clothes off people in the street. I'm a teenage boy in this game. I rip clothes off teenage girls. They would go, come this way, sir. And I would be taken away into a cell, right? This is honestly, like, and again, there's probably people like, fucking hell, Star, you don't get it, blah, blah, blah. I don't get it. I really don't get it. No. I don't know how this is a thing. I don't know how anyone can play this unless somebody who is Japanese can entirely and in comprehensive detail explain to me why. Because I don't know.
I always feel like ignorant.
Yeah,
But at
well,
the same time, it's like I don't know how to not feel ignorant because I feel like there's just a very real and solid barrier between me and like the idea behind the game. Like it's like I see it and I think to myself, right, and then we play it, and I go out of having played the game with exactly the same level of confusion and misunderstanding as I went in.
you
And
go
it's
out
like
with more.
I haven't learned
What about that
anything.
Maid game?
I just
What was that? When it, so I don't know if. No, I do know this is a thing because I watched some episodes of an anime called Steins Gate, and I'm pretty sure one of them worked in a maid bar in that, and it might be a thing that is in Japan. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I stopped watching that because it was like that. I couldn't watch it. This is weird. There was a character who keeps making comments on a schoolgirl's appearance, and this guy's like a 30-year-old fat guy, and he keeps saying things like, and he's like salivating. It's like it really makes a point of it, and I'm just like, no. So I couldn't watch it. I've watched other anime. I've watched like Death Note and various other ones, which I think are pretty good because they don't have none of that. And like Ghost in the Shell, always going about that. I watched the film, an amazing film, because it's none of this fucking weird stuff. But anyway, we went into a cafe, didn't we? And we greeted with a maid, and she would play a word game with us for 1,000 yen.
Yeah, it's just
and
bizarre.
We won nothing. I mean, is this like people go into bars in Japan and pay women dressed up as maids 1,000 yen to play a word association game?
I don't. Is that a thing? Is it even a thing? It must be. It must be based off. This is the thing that worries me. It's like this has got to be based off something, right? There's got to be something there that's like the basis for the game. But how much of it is the basis for the game? Like how much of it is real? How much of it is just like weird imagination? And why would you have that?
I'm gonna fucking Google this.
What imagination anyway?
I'll Google it to save you the Japanese made culture. Here we go. Oh yeah, no, hang on. Here we go. A maid cafe. It's a subcategory of cosplay restaurants found in Japan. In these cafes, waitresses dressed in maid costumes act as servants and treat customers as masters. This just sounds like some bondage setup. But like you're just walking off the street. It's really weird. I mean, this just shows that. Oh, hang on.
Do I need to be showing
the first permanent? Well, I can't really link it to you because I'll destroy your overlay. It's Wikipedia. I just searched for Japanese maid culture. It says the first permanent establishment in Akihabara, Tokyo, Japan, in March 2001. But maid cafes are becoming increasingly popular as they've done so. The increased competition has made some use unusual tactics in order to attract customers. They've also expanded overseas to China and South Korea. It's
Australia and the United States. Oh dear, what is going on?
But this is like really weird to me. Like I wouldn't. I mean, I would never go into a place like this and want a woman to be my slave dressed up as a maid. I would feel like a fucking weirdo, and I'd be like, "What the hell am I doing?" And I would section myself if I did that. I think that's like the biggest. Like me, the Englishman, Mr. Sty, cannot understand this at all.
This line that I've highlighted,
based on it.
This line that I've highlighted because I've got the Wikipedia entry up on the screen. Maid cafes were originally designed primarily to cater to the fantasies of male otaku, I don't know what that is, fans of anime, manga, and video games. The image of the maid is one that has been popularized and fetishized in many manga and anime series, as well as in gal games. Again, I don't know what a gal game is either, but that to me,
okay, an otaku is somebody with an obsessive interest, so weirdo.
Right? Okay, but that's just like I would not be trying to cash in on that because that would just be like
because like our culture, you would be arrested and thrown in a prison cell. But then this does go on in our culture. Let's be honest. There's like brothels and shit which are going to like cater to your crazy fetish. But
they're not like mainstream things.
Yeah, that's
they're
what
not
I'm going to say.
Enough to have a game made about it.
Yeah. These are like at some shady motel somewhere. It's not like on the high street that you're walking down. Yeah. I'm just popping into the maid bar. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I know they're not going in there and getting sexual favors, or maybe they are. But like, I don't know. But the fact that game, Japan frightens me. Literally, right? There are a lot of countries I want to go to and visit in the world, but Japan is like, I think I'd like to go there and see it, but I would be very frightened. I would be frightened in Japan because I would not understand anything, and I would be like,
yeah,
I can't like.
there's just too much of a cultural gap, isn't there? And it's like I feel like
I know, but there are people in this country who like, and people will comment on this video and I'll be like, "Oh, you just don't get it." What are you talking about? And I don't get it. That's the point. But I've watched manga and I've watched anime and I've enjoyed it. But when it's all this like childish, well, it's not childish. It's children dressed up as women in high schools running around, getting like men chasing after them. It's like, I ain't gonna say the word because the word's disgusting, but that's what it is to me.
Yeah,
word begins with a P. It's borderline that, and I'm like, I can't handle this. Like, I know anybody I speak to in this country that I know would be like, what the fuck? If I told them I've just played a game where you run around ripping the clothes off people as a child, and they're mainly children that you're ripping the clothes off, they would be like, what the fuck?
You'd be disowned, wouldn't you? You'd be like, no, get out. We're not talking to you anymore. What is wrong with you?
We obviously did it just to take the piss, like, because it was a funny video. But you know what I'm saying? It's weird. Yeah. And I don't think I could ever understand why anyone in the Western world would play these games. I can maybe let Japanese people off because I just don't understand their culture, and it's completely alien to me.
Well, it's like, I played that Honey Pop game a while ago because someone sent me that.
Oh, Christ. Is that the same?
Well, that's supposed to be a piss take of that culture. Like, it's supposed to be an over-the-top, like, apparently it's a Western game, so it's like taking all the stupid tropes that are in these like Japanese games and like amplifying them. But the thing is, even when they were doing it in like a tongue-in-cheek way, like a satirical look of it, where it's all like exaggerated and over the top, I still couldn't deal with it because I still didn't understand it. It's like I could vaguely appreciate that they were taking the piss, but the subject matter itself that they were taking the piss out of was still so alien to me that I couldn't even I couldn't deal with the game. I was just like I understand that this is obviously like a joke based on this stuff, but this stuff is so far removed from my own experience that even the joke is like cringeworthy to me. Like, I can't even get behind taking the piss out of it because I don't understand what I'm supposed to take the piss out of because it's just too like weird. I just don't get it. But it's like, I always feel ignorant when we say stuff like this because it's like, oh well, sure, you can make an effort. So, yeah, you could make an effort, and in fact, I'd argue, having watched plenty of anime and stuff and tried playing various games, that I have made an effort. But making an effort doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to end up actually understanding it. It just means that you've tried, and I'm quite happy having tried and not understood. Like, I can cope with that, even if it does make you sound like you've been some sort of horrendous ignoramus at the time. But it's like, well, what else can I do? If you don't get something, then you just don't get something sometimes. That's just how it works, unfortunately.
Well, I think we should definitely play more games like that because people seem to like us playing it because it's funny because we just do not understand. We're like, what the fuck? Yeah, ridiculous. The only other game I played this week is I played a little bit of Counter-Strike Global Offensive because the recent update came out to this. Now, just introduces a couple of new maps and like an XP progression leveling system. So the more you play on these maps, you kind of get leveled up as you go through. I think they may have done this for other updates. I've not played every update that's come out for it. I know you can buy a coin. That's the whole point of the update. You buy this coin and it levels up, sort of thing. I think there's been other coins which have leveled up. But, I tweeted my latest score on Twitter and I just was top of the team, which always happens when I just turn up and rinse. What can I say? I mean, it was only casual. It wasn't like a ranked game, but I just thought I'd jump in and I did, and I absolutely murdered everyone. But I don't know, the game's okay. I haven't really got much to say on it. I just literally was like, I'm just going to have a go.
It's like the polar opposite of me. I jump into an FPS having not played for ages and die constantly. And then I practice a bit and I die slightly less constantly. You don't play it for like 6 months, go in, get top of the team, and then just stay there. It's like any chance.
Yeah, because I'd not... 6 months is better at the top, but I'd not played it for some time.
Yeah.
I'll just find the thing. I tweeted like the score and I'm pretty sure I was like top by miles.
I know, I might be able to find it.
Well, maybe I was like equal with somebody or something, but I was top. That's what matters, bloke.
As long as you're top, that's it. All I can see is a picture of McGee. Okay, there we go. So here we go. Here's one picture of an award-winning performance. Was that 12 kills, 1 assist, 2 deaths? Not bad.
Yeah, so I only beat that guy by 1 assist, and I was MVP once, which just means you got the most kills in 1 round. But like, I like that. When I play that, I've said this before, but when I've played it, it pisses me off because I wish this game was out when I was 17, not like Counter-Strike Source. and CS 1.6 because I would have been an absolute addict at this game. I would have just been playing it like an animal. But now
Well,
I'm
even
like,
I was an addict of
well, yeah,
Source.
I would have just fucking lost my mind with this, like with all the skins and all the stats and
Yeah.
everything. I just would be like, whoa. Because I mean, I used to play on a server with that system on it, just because of that reason, really. Because it was like you join the server. I think I got to third on the server for a while. So
Yeah.
like there was a lot of players, and I was like, wow, the third best player, and it was, that was good. I like that. But obviously CS:GO just takes it to a whole new level because we got ranked play, ain't you? So
Yeah.
everyone's ranked on the same system, not just on like what individual servers have got. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it, and I kind of want to play more. But it's always the perennial problem with me is like not having enough time to play everything. So.
Yeah.
Like I spent too much time doing that stuff behind me. I don't know whether you can see it the way Kiri's got the webcam set up, but all the 40k stuff.
Off. It's like
it's just keep loads of it.
I can describe it. It's just a massive shelf of 40k everywhere. 40k.
Here's a bloody.
Oh, there he is. There's the lad.
Bit of the lad.
I just realised there is something I have played briefly again, but I won't talk about it much because we've already talked about it loads. But I did load up Darkest Dungeons again. That's had an update. So there's like new bosses.
Oh shit!
And
yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
New heroes.
So what does the update add?
It's new heroes, new bosses, new mobs. I think new different attacks and effects, stuff like that. It's just more Darkest Dungeons, which is, I mean, that game is really really good. I really enjoy it. I haven't played it that much recently, but it's one of those games where every now and again you just kind of get the urge. And you're like, yeah, I'll go for that. It's I think it's one of the best examples as well of how to do early access right. Like, there's quite a few games that I think have done early access like properly, and Darkest Dungeons is one of them. The way they've done it is you can't actually tell it's early access all that much because it all works. It doesn't crash randomly, and it's not broken. And the content is there; they're just building on it. And I mean, I didn't come across any of the new heroes when I started up the game, unfortunately, because it's still like random who you get.
Yeah.
Having had the update, I know full well that I'm going to play it this weekend because I want to see these new guys and see what they do. But yeah, I mean, that's Darkest Dungeons is always good. It's one of those games where I think if you're just a fan of like good kind of, I guess it's still like roguelike. It's it's procedural.
Well, it is.
You got this stuff. It's
it's
really worth a go. Like, it's really interesting. It's some of the mechanics in it are really good as well. Like, you've got the various fear problems, and your guys all get scared until they either snap and go mental or they turn into a massive hero and start cutting people down. It's just a really good game all around. But yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more of that again.
I mean, it's like harsh. It is overly harsh, but then it's roguelike, so you kind of would expect that. But like, I mean, if you want to get really technical, it does depend quite a lot on RNG, which is kind of a bit annoying. But it's funny the way it does it. Like, I mean, like when you get the full stress level, you either become like negatively stressed or you become like the opposite of like superhuman. Like you don't care. It's like, yes, I can deal with this. Let's go. And you become like this paragon of faith instead of some paranoid murderer, which you could become, or like a self-harmer who just keeps cutting themselves. It's like, no, don't die, and shit like that. So it is random. I mean, when I streamed it, didn't I, a couple of weeks back, and I literally streamed it for like 4 hours and never lost anybody,
which is amazing.
It's like, and I'm not that good at the game. How? The game is like crushingly difficult. Yeah, I was somehow, I mean, it was very close at times, but I got lucky, and I just got lucky, and I got lucky again. And that is a bit annoying if you do play it seriously, because I could sit down right now and be like, right, I'm going to play it seriously, and get fucked. Just get absolutely fucked. And it's like, no, I've been fucked, like I'm trying.
You have to go in and decide
people are going to die.
Seriously. It's almost like you've got to go in with a mindset.
Well, it says that, doesn't it? I think it says that. In Darkest Dungeon, people will die. It's like, be ready for death.
And you have people who just like wander off, like get back to the camp and they go, yeah, no, I'll be back later, and then they just disappear for God knows how long. And it's like, well, he was one of my best guys, and now he's just left. So, what am I supposed to do now? It is good though. It's like, it's just enjoyable. Like, until you get completely ruined. But then again, it's like, as you say, it says people will die. So you've been warned.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll end it at that. So we've actually played quite a bit this week. I mean, the game I played the most this week is Witcher 3, but I'm trying to refrain from just spoiling absolutely everything in it up to where I've got to, because I think I've played about 30 hours of that game so far, which isn't really that much considering most people have played tons of hours of that. But for me, that's pretty good considering how much other stuff I do. But yeah, This is the sister show, not the shit podcast as I called it on Hotfix. The sister show to Hotfix, yeah. And if you go, I don't know where I am, but I'm just gonna. It might be this way actually. Is it that way? This way, wherever the top.
Yeah, it'll be to your left.
That way,
right. It'll be up there. There'll be something like kind of.
Yeah, there'll be a card link.
Say that side or that side.
To Patreon, where you can support Hotfix and this show if you like. And honestly, guys, even if you just give us $1, that is like more than enough. Honestly, that helps a shitload, like an absolute shitload. There's also a link in the description as well, and the SoundCloud version is also in the description. So if you just want to listen to the audio only, maybe you're on the train or something. Also, I was asked as well about iTunes podcast integration. That should have been active. I'm not sure why it isn't, because SoundCloud plugs into iTunes. So I'll have to check that out and see what's going on with that. But yeah, there is an audio version on SoundCloud. Any famous last words, Mr. Kirioff, before you? Well, I can't end this. I'm just could sit here till the end of the time.
Going at The Witcher 3. That's pretty much the lesson of the last 2 weeks, and it will probably be remaining the lesson for. Well, I mean, until The Witcher 4 comes out, I don't know.
if that streamer guy played the game for fucking 200 hours or something, and he's still ain't even halfway through,
it's definitely worth the money at the very least. You're not being skimped on for content.
Well, actually, I mean, what talking of that worth the money?
It's
only that and GTA 5 have been worth the money this year. I'm going to say of a full price AAA game.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
No, I can't really think of anything else that's got.
I mean, if you bought Mortal Kombat, you'd want to fucking attack them for the shit show that was.
Yeah, you just end yourself. I can't think of anything else that's had, that's been that good, I guess, is the only way to put it. Or at least that jam-packed.
Okay, so
run out of things to do for a long
Master
time.
Chief Collection, piece of shit that didn't work. The multiplayer didn't work when that came out. I'm just going through the games that have been released, and it's just
actually, I heard about a really weird thing with that Master Chief Collection. 2 guys playing co-op in that. You can do there's various achievements and challenges for doing co-op, and they died, but they got one of them got a checkpoint that the other one didn't get. So when they respawned, one of them was at the checkpoint before the other, but they were still next to each other. So they were in different parts of the game, but they were controlling their characters in the wrong part of the game on the other person's screen. So they had a situation where they would try and play through, but they would die. The one who was stuck further ahead would die from a shot that they took from the checkpoint before, and it would reset the progress again. And I was reading this and I was like, how does a game be that broken when it's already been a game? The Master Chief Collection is not new. They're old games. They've just been updated and brought forward onto current gen consoles. How is it console because it's just Xbox One. But it's how do you break something that severely that already existed? How is that possible? How do you mess it up that bad? That's got to be one of the worst failures for gaming this year. It must be. Well, it's just dreadful.
I'd say Wolfenstein: The Old Blood was worth it as well.
Yeah,
even though it was short, but it wasn't full price, but it was still expensive. Okay, I was just looking through a big list of games, to see what if I'd bought all the games I played this year, I'd be happy with Grand Theft Auto. I'd be happy with Homeworld.
I think Cities
kind of. I'd be happy with Cities. I'd be happy with Homeworld. To a point, although it was a little bit iffy to begin with, but it didn't affect me, but it did affect a lot of people. So if it did affect me, I would have been pissed. Witcher 3, I'd been happy with that, obviously. When I look at the other stuff in this list, which I've given most of it, there's a lot of stuff which Bloodborne. I'm going to say Bloodborne, yes and kind of no. Yes, because it's a really enjoyable game and it's exactly what I expected it to be. But no, because things like the fucking loading times were horrendous and there were other bugs, and it kind of did make it feel shit. Whereas with The Witcher, which is basically the pinnacle of gaming so far in my eyes this year, it's just I've not had that any issue. I mean, last thing I'm going to say about The Witcher, then we're ending the show, right, guys? You know what I really like about it as well? You know, when you load the game, it doesn't attack you with splash screens. It's just skip. And then when you exit the game, it just exits immediately. When you save the game, it saves immediately and it loads immediately. There's none of this fucking about. There's no pointless waiting. It's no like here's a shitload of splash screens and a gaming, then speed tree, and then the physics thing, and then
it's just here is
some other shit.
Here's
and
the
then
game.
some
Pick
other
what you
shit.
want to do, and that's it. Which
I mean,
have
admittedly,
that
you
on
can
every game.
disable that. You can disable that for most games anyway, with the change the launch options on the EXE. But yeah. Anyway, guys, this is the end of the show because it's just going to go on for hours and hours and hours, and I have a life to live and not talk to you idiots all day.
And again,
this
buy The Witcher 3.
Is Pubcast, our awesome, laid-back video game podcast. Mr. Kirioff, you have to end it because you got the button.
I will indeed end it, and we will see you. Well, I say next week. We'll see you on Monday for more videos. Toodaloo.